Good morning. Today we will look at the definition of elegy. Elegy is a form of literature that can be defined as a poem or song in the form of elegiac couplets written in honor of someone deceased. It typically laments or mourns the death of the individual. Deceased means somebody who is dead. An elegy, which is pronounced as L-A-G, is a poem of mourning. Written in a somber style, it reflects seriously on death and on the person who has passed. Elegies are written for a specific person, especially someone the author knew well, although sometimes people write elegies for long dead heroes. The emotional effect is usually greatest, however, when the elegy is written from a personal experience or loss. Elegy is derived from the Greek word elegies, which means a song of bereavement. Bereavement means loss and sorrow, sung along with a flute. The forms of elegy we see today were introduced in the 16th century. Elegy written in a country churchyard by Thomas Gray and When Lilacs Last in the Dooryard Bloomed by Walt Whitman are the two most popular examples of elegy. Features of elegy. Usually elegies are identified by several characteristics of the genre. Just like a classical epic, an elegy typically starts with the invocation of the muse and then proceeds by referencing traditional mythology. It often involves a poet who knows how to phrase thoughts imaginatively in the first person. Questions are raised by the poet about destiny, justice, and fate. The poet associates the events of the deceased with events in his own life by drawing a subtle comparison. This kind of digression gives the poet space to go beyond the main or crude subject to a deeper level, where the connotations might be metaphorical. In other words, he is making a comparison with his life and the life of the person he is mourning. Towards the end, the poet generally tries to provide comfort to ease the pain of the situation. Christian elegies usually proceed from sorrow and misery to hope and happiness, because they say that death is just a hindrance in the way of passing from the mortal state into the eternal state. An elegy is not always based on a plot. The importance of elegy. Losing someone to death is one of the most powerful human experiences. We all go through this at one time or another. So, elegies are motivated by a broadly shared human emotion. When you lose a loved one, you can often process the emotions better by writing them down in an elegy. Because the emotions surrounding death are so strong and so universal, elegies can resonate very deeply with an audience. Examples of elegy from literature. Example number 1. The poem In Memory of W.B. Yeats, written by W.H. Auden. Auden says in the poem, "With the farming of a verse, make a vineyard of the curse, sing of human unsuccess in a rapture of distress. In the deserts of the heart, let the healing fountain start. In the prison of his days, teach the free man how to praise." Example 2. O captain, my captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every rack, the prize we sought is won. But O heart, 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 O the bleeding drops of red, where the deck of my captain lies, fallen, cold and dead. This is from the poem O Captain, My Captain by Walt Whitman, which was written on the occasion of the death of the President of America. During the Civil War, Walt Whitman volunteered as a nurse for wounded Union troops. He was deeply committed to the cause of the war and a proud supporter of Abraham Lincoln. It was Abraham Lincoln's death that he is mourning. Lincoln, as we all know, was the American president who had abolished slavery. Many years after Lincoln's death, Whitman wrote this elegy as a tribute to his fallen leader, expressing the sense of loss and perseverance felt in the North after the war's final tragedy. The function of elegy. Elegy is one of the richest literary forms because it has the capacity to express emotions that deeply influence people. The strongest of the tools elegy uses is its reliance on memories of those who are no more, in other words, who are dead and gone. Most of the poets who wrote elegies were evidently awed by the frailty of human beings. Frailty means how weak we are. Human beings are so weak. And how the world completely forgets about the deceased, means the dead person, at some point. However, the function of elegy is not as limited as it is thought. Whenever we take a look at elegy examples, what comes to mind are feelings like sorrow, grief, and lamentation. But a study of the Latin elegy tells us otherwise. A great deal of genre created in Western literature was inspired by Latin elegy, which was not always so somber. The most famous elegiac poets in Latin literature, such as Catullus, Ovid, Propertius, used humor, irony, even slotted narratives into a poem and still called them elegy. Often people are unable to distinguish between another literary device which is called as eulogy. So let us look at what is a eulogy and try to find the difference between an elegy and a eulogy. A eulogy is a speech of praise typically delivered at a funeral. Although it sounds very close to elegy, the two concepts are different in that eulogy most always refers to an actual speech at an actual funeral, whereas an elegy is just a work of art that can appear at any time. As in the case of Walt Whitman, Abraham Lincoln was long since dead and gone when Whitman wrote the poem Captain, O My Captain. If someone wrote a poem about the dead and then read it at the person's funeral, that would be both an elegy and a eulogy. An elegy is a poem or song that serves the purpose of a lament for or a celebration of a deceased person. A eulogy, on the other hand, is not so literary. Rather, it is a short speech that is spoken after someone passes away, often at a funeral. Both are often mournful or thoughtful. Therefore, the main difference is the form in which the words are written. Furthermore, in its primitive form, elegies were not just simple short pieces about the death of a loved one. In order to distinguish between an elegy and a eulogy, reading some examples of elegies and learning about their history is beneficial. The distinction between elegy and eulogy must be remembered. If one composes a poem about a deceased person, then it may be considered an elegy. A eulogy is a speech that one gives, perhaps at the cemetery in the case of a Jewish burial, and perhaps at the funeral mass in the case of a Catholic ceremony. Now let us look at the biography of Thomas Gray, who wrote the famous poem Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard. Thomas Gray was an English poet, letter writer, classical scholar, and professor at Pembroke College, Cambridge. He is widely known for his Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard, which was published in 1751. Gray was an extremely self-critical writer who published only 13 poems in his lifetime, despite being very popular. Although his literary output was slight, he was the dominant poetic figure in the mid-18th century and a precursor of the Romantic movement. Means he initiated, in a way, the romantic movement. Born into a prosperous but unhappy home, Gray was the sole survivor of 12 children of a harsh and violent father and a long-suffering mother who operated a millinery business to educate him. In other words, she was a maker of hats. A hat maker is known as a milliner. A delicate and studious boy, he, that is Gray, was sent to Eton in 1725 at the age of 8. Eton is a famous public school of England. There he formed a quadruple alliance with 3 other boys who liked poetry and classics and disliked rowdy sports and the Hogarthian manners of the period. They were Horace Walpole, the son of the Prime Minister, the precocious poet Richard West, who was closest to Gray, and Thomas Ashton. The style of life Gray developed at Eton, devoted to quiet study, the pleasures of the imagination, and a few understanding friends, was to persist for the rest of his years. In 1734, he entered Peterhouse, Cambridge, where he began to write Latin verse of considerable merit. He left in 1738 without a degree and set out in 1739 with Walpole on a grand tour of France, Switzerland, and Italy at Sir Robert Walpole's expense. Sir Robert Walpole, as I just told you, was the Prime Minister of England back then. At first all went well, but in 1741 they quarrelled, possibly over Gray's preferences for museums and scenery to Walpole's interest in lighter social pursuits, and Gray returned to England. They were reconciled in 1745 on Walpole's initiative and remained somewhat cooler friends for the rest of their lives. In 1742, Gray settled at Cambridge. That same year, West died, an event that affected him profoundly. Gray had begun to write English poems, among which some of the best were Ode on the Spring, Sonnet on the Death of Mr. Richard West, Hymn to Adversity, and Ode on a Distant Prospect of Eton College. They revealed his maturity, ease, and felicity of expression, wistful melancholy, and the ability to phrase truisms in striking, quotable lines such as, "Where ignorance is bliss, 'tis folly to be wise." The Eton Ode was published in 1747 and again in 1748 along with Ode on the Spring. They attracted no attention. It was not until an elegy written in a country churchyard, a poem long in the making, was published in 1751 that Gray was recognized. Its success was instantaneous, means almost immediate, and overwhelming. A dignified elegy in eloquent classical diction, means language and style of writing, celebrating the graves of humble and unknown villagers was in itself a novelty. In other words, nobody else had ever written about this subject before. Its theme, that the lives of the rich and poor alike lead but to the grave, was already familiar. But Gray's treatment, which had the effect of suggesting that it was not only the rude forefathers of the village he was mourning, but the death of all men and of the poet himself, gave the poem its universal appeal. Gray's newfound celebrity did not make the slightest difference in his habits. He remained at Peterhouse until 1756 when, outraged by a prank played on him by students, he moved to Pembroke College. He wrote two Pindaric odes, The Progress of Poesy, and The Bard, published in 1757 by Walpole's private Strawberry Hill Press. They were criticized, not without reason, for obscurity, and in disappointment, Gray virtually stopped to write. He was offered the laureateship in 1757 but declined it. He buried himself in his studies of Celtic and Scandinavian antiquities and became increasingly retiring and hypochondriacal. A hypochondriac is a person who imagines himself to be suffering from various illnesses. In his last years, his peace was disrupted by his friendship with a young Swiss nobleman, Charles Victor de Bonstetten, for whom he conceived a romantic devotion, the most profound emotional experience of his life. Gray died at 55 and was buried in the country churchyard at Stoke Poges, Buckinghamshire, which is celebrated in his elegy. That's all for today. Thank you and goodbye.